Good morning. My name is David Brenneman. It's my pleasure to be the Chief Administrative Officer for the Township of Woolwich. And it's my pleasure to welcome you here to the 2024 Mayor Shantz State of the Township Address. Thank you all so much for coming out today. It's a beautiful, beautiful spring day out there. I'd like to start off by very quickly powering through some of the dignitaries that we have joining us today at the State of the Township Address. First off, going to start off with Woolwich Council. Today we're pleased to have Councillor Evan Burgess and Councillor Nathan Cadeau here. As well, from the region of Waterloo, it's a pleasure to have Regional Chair Karen Redmond, as well Jim Erb, Regional Councillor. From the City of Cambridge, pleased to have Mayor Jan Liggett, as well as Ross Earnshaw and Helen Shuri. On behalf of the City of Kitchener, pleased to have Mayor Verbanovic, sorry Barry. It was bound to happen with the jet lag, Barry. Councillor Dave Schneider. And from the City of Waterloo, Mayor Dorothy McCabe, Diane Freeman, Councillor, Sandra Hamner, Councillor, and Julie Wright, Councillor. From the Township of North Dumfries, Mayor Sue Foxton. From the Township of Wellesley, Mayor Joe Nowak. From the Township of Wilmot, Mayor Natasha Salonen. And we also have dignitaries here from the school boards. From the Waterloo Region District School Board, we have Trustee Kathleen Woodcock and Scott Pietkowski. And from the Waterloo Regional Police Service, along with his various team members, we welcome Chief Crowell. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you. As I just mentioned, what a beautiful, beautiful time of year it is. Spring is such a beautiful time. Things are refreshing, coming alive. But I'd be remiss if I didn't note it is a good time of year because the leaves have fallen as well. Sorry, I'm a Habs fan, I had to do it. I was compelled to do it. Seriously though, I'm always amazed at this time of year how things refresh and rejuvenate and transform. We've got the various shades of green that erupt from the earth and the trees and in these first few weeks of spring. It's just amazing. Love the spring flowers and all the colors that bloom. Just makes you feel so alive. In my travels out in the countryside, I've certainly seen foxes, red-tailed hawks. Certainly, the other thing that no doubt comes out all around our homes is the squirrels scurrying everywhere. And the beautiful birds. As the robins return and the many species migrate, it's just a great time to be out in the countryside. And the bird songs remind me of life beyond our human existence. We cannot survive with the earth and all it really provides for us. Our ancestors and those who lived here before us would have enjoyed those same real experiences. The land on which we live has been here from time and immemorial. And Indigenous people have lived here from time and immemorial. We thank the Chinatan, also called the Attawadran, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee, and all who have belonged to this space. People who have lived in this area and cared for this land and who continue to share and steward this land for all of us. May we together learn to care for each other, our flora and fauna, and the land that sustains us. We offer this acknowledgement today as an act of reconciliation and a sincere appreciation for our ongoing life together. So today we're here to also support and recognize Woolwich Counseling Centre. The mayor always chooses a particular community support agency to recognize, and this year it's Woolwich Counseling Centre. And I love to tell this story. It's summarized actually on the Woolwich Counseling Centre website, which means later, by all means, please read more online about the good work that Woolwich Counseling Centre does for the community. Because what it does is it highlights the way community comes together where there is a perceived need to care for each other. People looking after one another. That is, again, another one of the great things about being out in the townships and the rural areas, the sense of connectivity, the sense of belonging, the sense of support for one another. It was in the mid-1970s, several local people came together to fill a need for local counseling services. Reverend Howard Goose, pastor at St. James Lutheran Church, chaired a steering committee comprised of Brian Kirkham, Joyce Gladwell, Ed Conlon, Reverend Glenn Brubaker, Donna Denham, Stephanie Futher, and Dr. Michael Judd to discuss the possibility of meeting this unique local need. It was on February 3rd, 1976 that the Woolwich Interfaith Counseling Centre opened in St. James Lutheran Church in Elmira, with the director of the Kitchener Interfaith Pastoral Counseling Centre, Dr. Claude Goldner, as a satellite of the KIPCC. From those very humble beginnings, over 45 years ago, and under diverse leadership, the WCC has supported countless people on their life's journey, currently touching more than 1,000 adults, youth, and children annually. That's a remarkable stat. It's my pleasure now to talk about the fact that we welcome to the stage shortly Executive Director Amanda Wood Atkinson. She has guided this amazing organization since March of 2020, an auspicious time really to join such a community support agency. It really was, and as you will recall, it was at the start of the global pandemic. And I also wanted to just add that it was a unique time because it was really a time where all 4 townships got to work very closely with all of our community support agencies through the pandemic. It was another example of community helping community, people helping people through things. And we continue now on with that rural collaborative where we meet every 6 weeks, all of the 4 townships with all of our community support agencies. Again, we help each other, we work with each other, and isn't that what it's all about? So, with that, it's my pleasure now to welcome Amanda to the stage and to learn a little bit more about the wonderful Woolwich Counseling Centre.
Good morning. As David said, my name is Amanda Wood Atkinson, and I have the privilege to be the Executive Director at Woolwich Counseling Centre. Woolwich Counseling Centre, like so many other charitable organizations in Woolwich Township, has this beautiful history of a community coming together in service of others. As you heard, a network of visionary supporters recognize the critical importance of mental wellness in growing a healthy community. They came together to build, nurture, and grow our organization for the benefit of their families, friends, and larger neighborhood, and continue to do so today. 48 years later, we are still part of the fabric of our community. We've seen significant growth over the past several years and now have a highly qualified team of 17 people. We continue to work together with other local rural partners, as you heard about, as well as a regional partnership of 5 counseling agencies called the Counseling Collaborative of Waterloo Region. Our services offer a powerful relief to the province's healthcare system by redirecting Ontarians with mild to moderate mental health needs away from hospitals and primary care and into cost-effective, preventative, community-based counseling. Over the past year, we've provided services to over 1,000 individuals in our community and offering approximately 5,000 sessions. By supporting individuals to strengthen their own coping and mental health, we create a ripple effect to build resilient and safer, stronger communities. Our services are preventative. When individuals access mental health supports early, it prevents the need for more costly supports in the future, such as justice responses, child welfare, or hospitalization. Because of our deep rural roots and reputable services, we're able to augment the government funding that we do receive through a combination of client fees and significant community donations. This allows us to serve even more people and make impact in the areas of family violence, children and youth mental health, and rural issues. By focusing on preventative work, such as counseling at a community level, we provide support for the entire community. We believe in the power of change. Our services offer hope to repair relationships, build understanding and compassion for ourselves and for others, and we work together with our clients to develop individuals who are mentally and emotionally well. Over the coming year, we're supporting a number of initiatives with the intent of increasing mental health awareness throughout our community. We will be offering a first session for free to any resident of Woolwich and Wellesley Township. We want to remove as many barriers as we can in order for people to access supports. We know that counseling work can be preventative and can help equip individuals and families to better cope with life challenges. And I would be remiss not to mention when I have the podium to tell you about an event that we have coming up. Hopefully you've heard of this, but if not, here's your inside scoop. So on Saturday, May the 25th, we're planning a large free community event at EDSS called Together for Mental Health. So we're aiming to bring together our community in a show of solidarity and support for mental health. And it will involve everyone: kids, youth, adults, seniors, local businesses, other community organizations, to show that we're in this together and that we can and should support one another and that mental health matters. Special guest speakers include Haley Wickenheiser, Olympic gold medalist, member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, physician, Assistant General Manager to the Toronto Maple Leafs, as of today still. And Corey Hirsch, NHL goaltender, Olympic silver medalist, speaker and advocate for mental health and wellness, author. And there'll be a musical interlude by Bradley Hale. So doors open at noon with a speaking component taking place between 1 and 2 p.m. And from 2 to 4 p.m., this is the part that we're really excited about. We are excited about our speakers as well, but from 2 to 4, there will be games and activities from all of our local organizations, including drumming, face painting, yoga, henna tattoos, hockey, crafts, soccer, ringette, accessible exercise, lawn games, campfire, therapy dogs, and more. Police trucks, police cruisers, fire trucks. Food trucks and a lemonade stand will be on site, and the event also features a silent auction and free giveaway. So mark your calendar for Saturday, May the 25th from 12 to 4 p.m. at EDSS. It's an event you won't want to miss. So we want to thank you for being here this morning to support the work that we do. Thank you so much to the Township for their ongoing support. They have just been a steadfast supporter of ours, and I get the privilege of working with a number of them, and I'm so appreciative of their support. When you partner with us financially, your gifts help to offset the cost of counseling. We're reliant on your support to be able to provide affordable services. So we'd invite you to spread the word to your friends, your family, and your neighbors that there's mental health support for them here locally in Elmira, as well as in our locations in Breslau and Wellesley. We're happy to do presentations and workshops at your businesses, organizations, churches, or schools. We have a vision that all of Woolwich and Wellesley Townships will be mentally and emotionally healthy. Thank you for helping us in joining to make that vision a reality.
Thanks, Amanda. Appreciate that. It's my pleasure now to welcome to the stage Mayor Sandy Shantz. Sandy has certainly provided great leadership through the pandemic and certainly in this, her third term. It's a pleasure certainly to see her leadership around the council table and certainly for us as a staff team and an organization. It's my pleasure today to welcome her to the stage for her 2024 address.
Move that down a bit. Good morning, and thank you, Amanda, for being here and for being part of the community. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today and for your support towards Woolwich Counseling Centre. Now, it's not news to anyone in this room that we're in a period of political unrest and turmoil, and I think we've all been hoping for a time of stability. And there is stress when we are continually faced with change in various parts of our lives. Well, a similar stress pervades our government and social institutions when we try to make changes. I'm not sure WCC offers institutional counseling, but maybe you should add that to your list of services. I've been working alongside my other area municipal colleagues to identify ways we can collaborate better and how we can avoid duplication. And as David likes to say, there's only one taxpayer. So we want to give you your best value for your tax dollar. Statistics Canada projects that millennials will outnumber baby boomers by 2029, ending their 65-year reign. Now, I know there are a few of us in this room who are now feeling a little displaced, myself included, but I'm okay with that. And a realtor once told me if we boomers would downsize, it would leave enough family homes for millennials. But we kind of like our homes, don't we? And we need our millennials to keep the economy going as we boomers retire. The Fraser Institute reports in 1966, there were 7.7 working age individuals for every senior. This ratio has dropped quickly since then and stands at 3.4 in 2022. Statistics Canada projects this trend will continue in the decades ahead, and there will be just 3 working age people for each senior by 2027, after which the ratio will slowly fall further to reach 2.3 by 2068, at which time many of us will have left this world, and I would venture to say that everyone in this room will be past retirement age. That's what drives the immigration policy and also contributes to that housing crisis. A couple months ago, I had hoped that by now I could talk with some confidence about where we're going and how we plan to get there. A recent communication from a legal firm that deals with municipal law reminded me that since 2021, there have been 10 bills brought forward dealing with land use, planning, development, and municipal regulatory powers. April 10th, another bill was presented for the first reading, and I was afraid by the time I edited this presentation, it would be out of date. And in fact, this past Tuesday, we just finalized our comments on that bill. That's the world we live in. We need to build homes. We need to create employment, we need to fight climate change, and we need to protect our land. Planning and development is a top-down experience. Many of you know that. The province provides policy that informs regional official plan, which in turn dictates how the township official plan is written. In June 2022, we approved a new township official plan to comply with the 2015 regional official plan. And just last month, we approved the zoning bylaw that flows out of that. Writing the new zoning bylaw was a huge job, as the last comprehensive zoning bylaw rewrite was done in 1986. So thanks to our planning staff for bringing us up to date. The key thing to remember in the current conversations around planning authority is that the region complies with the provincial policy, and by extension, our official plan does too. To remove barriers, if an application fits into our plan, it also falls into the regional and provincial vision, and we have the staff and the expertise to make those approvals. We're waiting for Bill 23 to be proclaimed so we can proceed with this planning. Currently, there are 3 regions where the area municipalities will receive full planning authority in July, those being Halton, Peel, and York. We expect to have our proclamation later this year, and at that time, there will only be one planning approval needed, and that being the township. So hopefully that can help to streamline some of our processes. The township population is projected to grow by 47%, to a population of 51,200 by 2051. So for perspective, when I was born, according to a site called Macro Trends, the total population of Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, and area was 106,000. Now stop Googling to try to find out my age. I was living in Kitchener, and the population there was about 63,000. Our employment forecasts indicate a close to doubling of growth from 17,300 jobs to 33,000 by 2051. Here in Woolwich, we will see significant growth, and we will require comprehensive planning with respect to land use, transportation, and servicing to meet the housing and employment needs. And while the graph looks like a fairly consistent slope, it is important to note that much of that growth will happen in Breslau. And we have to consider recreation and social needs to accommodate the growing number of residents and businesses as Breslau essentially triples in size. Councillor Bonnie Bryant and I attended the groundbreaking for the Mad West subdivision on Monday. And over the next 15 to 20 years or so, Madison Homes, who have family connections to Kitchener, by the way, want to work with the community to help support and develop community connections as Breslau expands. It includes an extension of Ottawa Street, which will ultimately provide another bridge over the Grand. And as we link our communities and find ways to work together, we value even more our individual identities and perhaps our idiosyncrasies. And coming from a long line of Kitchenerites, I think I can say that, Barry, that we have idiosyncrasies sometimes. So here's the scoop on Breslau boundaries. On the right-hand side, you can see the blue line, which is the existing boundary for Breslau. The red line shows the countryside line and also represents the area that we want to be able to plan within. Wetlands are in blue, and you can see there are quite a lot of them. On the left, you can see the airport lands in brown, and the wetlands show up in green. In the past, Breslau has been built out somewhat piecemeal, with essentially 3 separate communities emerging in this small town of just 5,000. If Breslau is to grow quickly as we anticipate, it is increasingly important to consider the whole community and their needs, including recreation and commercial. And in order to do that, we need to be able to plan considering the entire space. And that's the rationale for moving the urban boundary to the countryside line. Last June, we held an open house to get feedback from the community on alternatives within that original blue boundary. Later in 2023, the province opened the settlement areas back up for comment, and our planning is now on hold until the province confirms the boundaries through the proclamation of Bill 23. Now, I do want to make it very clear that we do not support rampant development in the town, nor do we anticipate developing all of the land. But there are some strategic initiatives that we will need to consider to be beneficial to the township and to the town. So developers in the room, don't start salivating. As we've done beginning in Elmira and St. Jacobs and more recently in Breslau, we will continue to manage our growth carefully while reaching for the housing and employment targets set by the province and protecting our agricultural lands and wetlands. I was assured by provincial staff and politicians that we will continue to have authority to dictate areas of growth through our official plan, which will include managed growth, acknowledge increased densities, and protect the environment. While the province recently amended the Planning Act to allow multiple units, we like to brag a little bit, and that's why I get to stand here. that by 2020, we were already a bit ahead of our time by allowing 3 residential units on most land zoned for single semis and townhouses. And even earlier, we exempted affordable housing from development charges. Bill 23 will streamline the Woolwich planning approval process by delegating planning approvals solely to the township. We've been advocating for delegation of official plan amendments and plans of subdivision from the region since I was first elected to council in 2006, and likely before that as well. The cities and townships in the region of Waterloo have developed a joint team to create a transition plan for implementation of that delegated authority. And I also want you to know that there is collaboration between the area municipalities and the region. Our colleagues all meet together regularly to discuss and process policy and process. Mayors meet, CAOs meet, as do our CFOs, our planners, recreation, infrastructure, and senior staff. We do work together to create synergies where we can. Now some really exciting news. I'm so excited that the Breslau Library will open soon in the Breslau Community Center. Community's been waiting a long time, and I know they would like a standalone main floor option and we will consider that in the future, along with other amenities needed in town. But for now, I'm really excited to see this project coming to fruition. And the long-awaited Breslau Splash Pad will open this summer. The community has worked hard to fundraise and bring this along as well. Thank you to the Breslau Alliance and the local businesses and residents who have supported this project. Because Breslau is considered urban, Elmira and St. Jacobs are called urban-rural, I think is the right terminology. It will see densities more like the cities, and we're considering how we provide the services they need. Our recreation master plan will help us with that as we identify future needs in all our towns and settlements. Now, I was able to join Mayor Joe in Wellesley as we congratulated Rosalind Bentley on her retirement from Woolwich Community Health Center. And I had a good side discussion about the need for a health center in Breslau. Mayor Joe was able to combine recreation and health care along with other community needs, and that's something that we can look at as we envision a Breslau with its greater population. By 2051, Breslau will be about the size Elmira is now. Over 20 years ago, Woolwich began divesting properties, so we don't have much excess land in our possession. That said, we are committed to working towards a continuum of housing that creates a place for all. To that end, we declared the former Kiwanis House surplus in 2022 and released a request for proposal to develop affordable housing. Beyond Housing was a successful applicant with plans to construct about 24 units, with 75% of those affordable. We are considering strategic acquisitions that will allow us to work with our housing providers to create needed housing. MPP Harris is helping us to advocate at the provincial level for support to make that happen. In the last year, Spruce Lawn in St. Jacobs, also managed by Beyond Housing, opened 28 new units and is full with a waiting list. We continue to work through challenges with the committee at Trinity United Church on their plans for market-based housing. You may have heard that we recently were successful in receiving $6.7 million in funding over a 3-year period through the CMHC Housing Accelerator Fund. That's a lot for us, and we're excited to be able to find good ways to use that. Thank you to MP Tim Lewis for his advocacy on this file. The purpose is to encourage local initiatives that will speed up the building of homes. We have a number of projects that will help to incentivize building and set us up for future successfully managed growth. We anticipate an additional 190 homes from this initiative. Currently, we're sitting with approximately 700 units in the pipeline that have been approved or are close to approval. Those can be built as soon as the developers are ready to begin. So we hope we can use some of these funds to waive certain fees and charges to encourage appropriate projects. And we are working on our new strategic plan, and these are the emerging themes that are coming from that. Try not to spill my water like I did my coffee this morning. As more and more responsibilities are added to local government, funding through property taxes alone just isn't adequate. Sure, we can apply for funding for specific projects, but that makes it difficult to manage the day-to-day as we wait for possible funds that may or may not get approved. We have asset management plans that could be reviewed by the province, and then appropriate allocations made for municipalities to maintain their infrastructure. We support AMO, Association for Municipalities of Ontario, and looking for a deal that could include other sources of funding for local municipalities. We hope that our work on development charges, asset management, and a financial sustainability plan will help us leverage funding opportunities with our federal and provincial governments. Now, you may have wondered what in the world all the little plastic tubes are that are springing up all over the township. I think there was an article in the paper in the last day or two. Well, you're seeing our new roadside tree planting project firsthand. We're not trying to grow plastic. Trees for Woolwich is a grassroots organization that has not only developed a nursery, but through partnering with Mark Schwartz and Earthscape, they have been able to establish a 100-acre nature reserve and have planned to increase our tree canopy through roadside tree planting along both township and regional roads. A huge, huge thank you to Mark and to Inga Rennie for their local leadership, fundraising, and inspiration. They have assured us that the many varieties of young trees will actually thrive better in due course than if we planted older ones. And I think they've said that within 10 years you wouldn't know the difference. I was also able to chat with our previous councillor, Mark Bauman, who council had dubbed the Lorax when he was on council. And he said the roadside tree planting, I think, is looking at 22,000 trees, Inga, is that right? But since Trees for Woolwich began, they've planted 73,000 trees. Well done, and thank you. This spring, the Nature Reserve did a controlled burn, which is a natural way to improve the growth of natural grasslands. We are in the process of hiring a climate action and sustainability coordinator who we expect will help to expand our focus and assist with coordinating and integrating climate action across our organization. On the sustainability front, we applaud many of our local companies. I'll name a few, and I know I'll leave a bunch out, but EnviroStewards, Safety Clean, BioEmpower Inc., Nedlaw Living Walls, and others who have grown internationally and provide great supports in energy production and conservation. And thank you to local leaders like Sandra Bray, Susan Ryan, Inga Rennie, and Connor Ehrlich, and especially to our own Ann Roberts, who keeps everyone rowing in the same direction. Active transportation includes any mode of transportation that involves human power to get from one place to another, such as walking, cycling, or rolling. Our active transportation master plan establishes a vision for a well-connected, safe, and convenient active transportation network for Woolwich to the year 2051. The implementation of the plan will occur through redevelopment projects, road reconstruction projects, and new developments. It's hard to see the trails on the slide, I think, but along with our local trails, the Kissingbridge Trail, the Guelph to Godrich Trail, the Trans-Canada Trail, and the Grand Valley Trail all run through the township and connect us to other municipalities and throughout the province. And I often like to brag about our recreational trail system and opportunities for hiking, cycling, and paddling in our township. So Mayor Dorothy, a couple years ago, I challenged your predecessor, Dave, that we had more trails per capita than Waterloo. So I did note in your state of the city that you said you have 230 kilometers of trails. And if my math is correct, that's about 1.5 kilometers for every 1,000 people. I think we're at about 3.5, so something for you to aspire to. Okay. In the interest of time, I've not addressed the many infrastructure projects that are ongoing, both on local and regional roads. We do have a number of staff here. You can corner them when we're done. I want to be respectful of your time, and maybe next year we can focus on infrastructure. 2023 saw the first annual Woolwich Pride event. This family-oriented event had lots of activities for everyone, and we were excited about the great attendance. You can share the fun at the second annual Pride event on June 15th from 1 to 5 at Gibson Park with local magicians, food trucks, children's activities, and more. And I understand that they made arrangements to have more food trucks this year. And Hope, Hearts Open for Everyone, founded and led by Abby Cooper, who's here today. Abby. Held a number of multicultural and community events with support from local volunteers, community sponsors, and grants from the township's new EDIB fund. Abby and her team continue to host a variety of events supporting multiculturalism and supporting community in Elmira. This year, the second annual event will be held September 21st from 12 to 5 at Gibson Park. And council and staff are very pleased to support our local grassroots leaders and events. The 2S LGBTQ+ ad hoc working group provided council with a multi-year roadmap to support and celebrate our 2S LGBTQ+ people, friends, family, and allies, including the township's first annual Pride flag-raising ceremony in 2023, where we were joined by a number of students from EDSS. Flowing out of that report, we installed a rainbow bench alongside our other benches near the flagpole at the Woolwich Memorial Center. You can see that just over here. To me, this represents how we must learn to sit together, to play together, and live together, whoever we are, wherever we come from, whatever our belief system, wherever we live, without judgment or malice. We are all people in this world with equal value. I was touched hearing how one of our students felt like they belonged when they saw the rainbow bench. The colors and symbols on our window stickers remind us that we are all in this together. And I can't do a State of the Township without talking about speeding and dangerous driving in our settlements and on our roads. And I know Mayors Sue, Natasha, and Joe share my concerns about our rural and settlement roads. And not to leave out our cities, I know Mayors Barry, Jan, and Dorothy have their own issues with inconsiderate and dangerous driving. Our Waterloo Regional Police have been monitoring our traffic, and you can see have laid a number of charges just in the first quarter of this year in Woolwich. So if you're driving on our roads, on any roads, please slow down and drive carefully. We have horse and buggies, farm equipment, as well as many cyclists and pedestrians who use our roads and are especially vulnerable. You really don't know what you might be met with as you crown a hill or navigate a bend in the road. And speaking of traffic, we continue to wait for the region to complete their environmental assessment report, which should outline the way forward for a bypass for Elmira. The truck traffic continues to impede our ability to feel confident in pursuing our downtown redevelopment plans. So thank you to Waterloo Regional Police for the great work you do day in and day out, not only with traffic, but with increased break-ins, drugs, organized crime, and intimate partner violence. Chief Kroll could do and has done a whole session on the work of police. So thanks for being here, and maybe sometime we'll have you in to do one of those events. And David meets regularly with Staff Sergeant Jay McSween, and if you let David know your concerns, he and Jay will work to find solutions. We value our small businesses and entrepreneurs. Our local farmers and agri-food businesses, whether supporting ventures like the St. Jacobs Market, roadside stands, or events like Taste the Countryside, restaurants like Crow's Foot Smokehouse, Rumble Tum, Arthur Street Kitchen, Sip and Bite, or Bonnie Lou's, Harvest Moon, or our other St. Jacobs venues. They represent both our past and our future. We are progressive, yet we retain the small town feel. Many of our major employers, such as Conestoga Meats and Martin's Family Fruit Farm, have grown from small local businesses into large businesses that along the way with many service industries like Jocelyn Insurance support our local communities. Lanxess, Toyota Boshoku are two international corporations who have found a home here. And I was talking to Vandel Construction and they were telling me, and sorry Michael, it was 150 people that you employ in Bloomingdale. So a lot of really good industries and businesses in our community. Our hospitality industry is growing with Stockyards Brewing opening at the St. Jacobs Market District, which is Waterloo Region's leading tourist destination. They joined Block 3 in Murphy's Law in the adult beverage market. The Skills Ontario Tech Truck, along with several local businesses, welcomed 350 students to St. Jacobs and promoted skilled trades at the St. Jacobs Country Playhouse in March. A shout out to Drayton Theatre, who established the Schoolhouse Theatre in St. Jacobs in 1997 and have been providing first-class theatre here for almost 30 years. And on a sunny April 6th, I hope many of you came, we hosted a very successful 60th annual Elmira Maple Syrup Festival, the world's largest single-day maple syrup festival, and we have the Guinness record to prove it. It was all organized, this is entirely organized by local volunteers. And estimates say we hosted about 80,000 people that day. Congratulations to Matt Jessup and his crew. It's a lot of work, but brings residents, service clubs, places of worship, and cultural groups together. Well done. And on April 21st, the Vintage Guitar Show again drew attendees from around the world to celebrate the world of music. And there will be a number of local events. Amanda just talked about one on May 25th that is not on this list. I apologize for that. But also there'll be Pride and Hope and the Jazz Festival in 2024. So join us as often as you can. And at this time, we'd like to give a special thank to our sponsors. With your generous sponsorship, we'll be able to make a generous donation to Woolwich Counseling Center's programming, providing a positive impact to those within our community who seek their assistance. And this morning would not have happened without help, actually, she did all the work, from our executive officer, Rayanne Bauman, who's over there working the slides. She cracked the whip with staff, right staff? Yeah? To compile information and put this presentation together, on top of organizing ticket sales and setup. So thank you, Ray, and to all our staff for everything that you do. In closing, I want to thank you so much for coming this morning. It's such a great turnout, and it's always fun to see everybody and to have a chance to network. I hope you go away having learned something about Woolwich, and I will leave you these words that I saw on a local sign a couple weeks ago. Why do we say rest in peace? Why don't we live in peace? Thanks for coming, and I will turn the floor back over to our MC, David, who now that he's returned from England wants to be called Sir David.